Details about the next course. You may also want to type your message to panelists and attendees so everybody can see what question I'm answering to. Okay, I guess we're live on YouTube now. Somebody please confirm to me. Oh yeah, we're there. Great. Welcome to all the viewers on YouTube. Let's go. So I want to start with two things today, right? First, thank you all for coming for such low notice, and I apologize for that. I really didn't know until yesterday that I would not make it on Sunday. Those who missed it now will get to watch it, so they will know that it's on, right? So my apologies for that. Second thing is, you know, when people are very, very, I don't even know how to put this so that it doesn't be funny, but I find it funny, right? There's one guy out there copying me, and you know, it's already very bad when you're trying to copy somebody. You know, and I mean word for word sometimes trying to copy. I think he was one of my students, and he may even still be in the group. He's hiding under another name. And the way I know is because some of the things we say in our group, even some of the way I look at charts, like if you would hear me, you may hear very few people out there says Euro Chief or Yen or Aussie Chief, right? That's the Swiss. That's something I came up with. Not came up, I just started calling it that a long time ago. You don't hear that very much. People would say Euro Swiss, Aussie Swiss, and so. This guy just was there when he copied. He's saying exactly the same thing. Some lines I draw once in our class actually turn up there. I don't know exactly. I think he's not live in our class, but he's watching the recordings. Eventually, I'm going to find him and kick him out, right? But it's already bad that he's trying to steal something and sell it as his. Someone asked him, and somebody just sent me a print. They asked him, did you learn from Anil? The guy said, no, he is my student. I mean, I just couldn't stop laughing when I saw that. I actually have the printout. I'm not showing the printout because his name is there, and we don't want to call anybody's name in here, right? I think all of you would know who I'm talking about. Someone from South Africa, no name calling. The guy said, no, he's my student. I mean, like, you're stealing my stuff, trying to sell it as yours, and then I'm your student? It's like, you know, I invented wave theory. There was Elliott wave theory before me, and wave theory, the word combination where everybody before me used to say they're Elliott wavers. They would call themselves Elliott wavers. The reason we said wave theory is because there's a lot of difference we have from Elliott wave. We have a labeling difference. We have a pattern difference. We have at least about 4 new patterns that Elliott wave did not identify that we actually identified. They do exist, and we showed you many of them. At least 2 of them I've shown to this group a number of times. We have the structural difference, how we look at charts, structurally different from Elliott wave. Elliott wave has the basic 5-3-5-3 theory. Well, I could show you that you have progression in 3-3-3-3 structures, right? So there are many things that are different from Elliott wave. And that is why I said wave theory, because it's not only based on Elliott wave, it's also based on many other wave theories that I've studied and put them together, and my own development where I have identified how to isolate the wave. Now, nobody can claim that because I did that. The method that I'm using to isolate a single wave within a structure is not done by anyone but me. So anybody out there claiming they know that stuff, they've either bought my course or is trying, you know, that there's no other way they could get it. So that's just plain. When the guy said I'm a student, you know, when the person said this guy's really over his head, he's saying you're a student. I was like, yeah, really? I mean, that far you're gonna go? I'm your student. Like, okay, go ahead. Go ahead. You may get some fools to believe you, but it's very funny. It shows, you know, it shows a kind of authenticity, right? I think we all have to have a moral level. You know, there has to be a moral bar. I know I'm starting again with a little lecture, but there has to be a moral bar. If you don't, your trading will go bad, literally. All human beings, we have to have a certain level, right? If you have to have a credibility and a moral bar. If you don't have that, then your life is useless. Literally, it's useless. You have to say, these are the things I would do, and these are things I will never, ever do. Because they're way beyond, you know, any human kind of attitude. And when people do that, you know, is that a person you want to teach you? Like, I'm always thinking, what is the purpose of doing that? Why are you stealing somebody else's stuff? That's already bad. But then you're claiming, hey, you taught the guy that stuff. Like, what? How do you wake up and look yourself in the mirror? Like really, how do you wake up and look in the mirror and say, hey, I just blatantly lied to everybody out there? Like that's, I don't know where the level is, but let's move on. I found it very funny when the guy showed me. Let's go, dollar index. As we said last week and still looking this week, we're going up. We wanted to break the top and we broke the top, right? So now we have a complete pattern. So it's not only conscience, it's just, I don't even know how to put it. I don't know how people like those, forget about him stealing and selling. He's trying to make some fast bucks. That, some fast money with people stuff. People do that day in, day out, right? So I could give, but then you turn back and you're so blatant about it. Hey, I taught that guy, like, really? When did you teach me? I could go now. I have a printout of him saying I was a student. I could take him to court for that. He doesn't even know that. And I could say, look, you claim I'm your student. Like, show me proof when and how did that happen? And I actually have proof that he asked to buy my course. And if I really search, I will find proof that he bought it under another name. He would be surprised to know that, right? But I'm not going to go to that extent. There's no need to that. So let's go. We broke the top as we expected. So now we have a complete pattern. But is this the turning point? A lot of traders ask, well, how do you know when it's going to turn? And I can tell you, no, we don't know it's going to turn now because this pattern, it's a correction. And like all corrective patterns, they can become very complicated, right? So is this going to be a complicated one? We don't know that, right? We don't know how far this could go. We don't know how much waves up and down we could get in that. And there could be a lot because we simply don't know whether the daily structure is starting an up move, a bigger up move, or this is just a correction for more downside. You wouldn't know that at this point if you look at the daily and the weekly structure. There is no proof of that. So I'll just show you very fast a few options of how we look at structure so you can learn a few things. One of them is that if this wave is over, and it's possible it's over as one piece, then we are making a correction like this, 1, 2, 3. Right? That correction is more complicated than 1, 2, 3, but for simplicity's sake, I'm going to show you guys 1, 2, 3. It's a much more complicated one than 3 waves in there. So we're going to probably repeat that process here and then go up. That's one option of how the weekly structure can develop. The second option of how the daily structure can develop, if you go to the daily, is that this is just basically a correction and we drop, which means we're continuing this one. And both of those right now are very possible depending on how you look at this. Is that an expanding flat? Or is this the end of the structure? And because of where it is right now, because of where this pattern is right now, we haven't confirmed any of the two. We haven't confirmed that we're not making a bigger correction, or we cannot confirm that that's not an expanding flat. But we are in the process of doing that. So if you understand wave theory, not just Elliott wave where you label stuff, if you understand wave theory, the concept of the waves is that you need a number of waves to form to make a certain pattern, and that's a distinctive pattern. Right now, we don't have a distinctive pattern, right? There's a whole difference of understanding the theory of waves. And that is why you will see me said, I'm a wave theory person. I'm studying wave theory. I'm studying the theory that there are waves in the charts and you can learn these waves and they make distinctive patterns and you can notice distinctive patterns. And based on those, when you have a distinctive pattern, you can tell with a 99.99% accuracy where it's going to go. Now, why we can make forecasts in this piece very accurate is because we're looking at the smaller patterns. Patterns on much lower degrees, not the bigger one. The bigger pattern is unclear. The smaller patterns are very clear to us. So as these smaller patterns develop, they will make a bigger pattern. See? Now, that's what we teach you to do. So somebody convey to that guy. He needs to learn it. I think he took my course. He didn't learn very well. He should come back. So what we're going to do now is watch this. If it starts to give you a flag here, you're going to probably come back all the way to this level. If they consolidate within this zone, we're going to continue to go up. And right now, you don't have any of those two. Let's go to the 1 hour. So you were buying all the time. Your last buy was this one. And I hope that's a break-even trade for you. You took profit because now you might wait for either a deeper correction and continue, right? or you're waiting for a flag, go down, go down, go down, and maybe even break out of this structure, because this whole 4-hour structure is a complete structure. So which way this is going to go today? Watch for what happens here. You get a flag, you sell. You're likely going to get a flag to sell. I think you're likely going to get a little correction here and maybe a sell, at least one, even if they're making a correction for upside. Very likely will depend on what happens here, right? If they're going to go back up, you might find that this might just go back right here, come back here, just stick around here, and then eventually take off. So wait to see which one, which means you're not going to get much trade this week in that piece. Euro, same here. Same pattern, everything. The euro is showing very much, because of the dollar index we're using, the euro is the bigger part of it. I think about 50% of that dollar index, the euro is the bigger part. That is why you tend to see that it reflects, right? This also has a complete structure, right? Not necessary. That's not what I mean by Diego. A complete structure does not. It's a complete structure has impulses and corrections in it, right? Not just the correction. So, like I said, that's a long process. That's a 5-week course, by the way, to get the answer to that question. So watch here. I think we might get some correction. We might get some correction here, and we might continue to go up. So I'll be looking for this to probably go up some more here. Then we will see. Now, like I said, they could also just make a flat here and then drop lower. Now, this is also possible because this could continue to go. And that is if you're looking at this pattern. I don't know if you remember, I showed once how we look at a daily structure. Maybe I showed you, maybe not. I can't remember. I know we did it in our room, but I'll just show you. Same here. If we're looking at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and possible 5, right? As a structure that is expanding, then there's a good chance this is going to come back all the way to the low here. A very good chance it could come. If they just consolidate over here and we break out, you're looking for a really strong euro because we're going to break that up. Now, which it's going to be, I don't know. It looks more downside right now, so we're going to go for the sell setup. We'll go most for sells. So right now, you're getting a pullback. We don't know if it's a reversal or pullback as yet. You should not be in that trade unless you wait for it to make a correction and then buy. It will make a correction, and then you're going to get a buy setup, right? You'll be ready to go. Pound. As we said, Pong is going to break the top and came down. I hope most of you got a lot of sells in this Pong because it's going to continue to go. It needs to at least break this low, right? It needs to at least break this low. So I hope a lot of you made money in the Pong because we did, right? So watch this trade coming down here. And then when this piece is over, we will see where it goes. I think this could go pretty deep, right? And if it breaks the daily structure, that means we're going to make a daily correction. If they break out of that daily structure, if they break out of there, that will be telling. Because we're either going to be going to break the low here, or we're going to be making a much bigger correction in here, a longer time before we go back up. Right? I'm a wave trader. I don't consider myself a technical trader. I consider myself a wave trader. There's a difference with that. If you keep that question after the end of this webinar, that's the first question I'll explain the difference between technical trading, wave trading, and fundamental trading. And I'll give you, I think I said it once, but I'll give you. Let's start with that when I finish here. Keep the question. Yes. So definitely I'm expecting this to go more. And it's actually going. So what you're going to look for here is more consolidation. I hope all of you got this trade. I hope all of you got that one. There's a lot of trades here. So I'm expecting this to consolidate here a little more, and then you can sell. I don't see a reversal here as yet, right? There is nothing there showing a reversal, most likely downside. Aussie, you can get a reversal. Remember, we looked at Aussie last week, and I said it could come very close down to break this low first place. First thing we wanted it to do on the downside was break this low, which they did. They go some more, but I can see Aussie going back all the way to the top there, right? So can Aussie go up, Euro go up, and Pound go down? Well, look at the Aussie Pound and look at the Euro Pound, and then you will know if it's possible. Because it is possible. If you understand anything about how these charts move, you can see that that is possible. You're getting a change. Probably wait for a flag here. Don't jump into this trade because they can reverse. There's a reason why we think that pattern could reverse. We're not going to go into that. But I would wait for a flag here and take this buy. And you probably want to keep that buy for as long as it goes. All the pullback in that buy would be buy opportunities. Because I think this one is heading up. Just as the New Zealand. We wanted the New Zealand to break this low. I showed you that pattern last week. Trade it down until it breaks this low. It's going to go some more, and then it's going to turn. So we're expecting New Zealand to make one more high. I think last week I showed you guys the weekly chart where I squeezed it and show you and ask where it should go, right? You're seeing these patterns, you know where they go, right? You look at them, and it's pretty easy. It wasn't difficult. You look at this, it goes up. You look at that, it goes up. You look at this one, it comes down. You look at this, it comes down, right? Because they're in the middle of two impulses. You got an impulse, and you're getting the same thing. Where you think it's going to go, you know. Could this break this low here? No, we're not expecting that to go break the low. We're expecting it to go back up, and that's the difference with how we look at structure, how technical traders look at structure. So I think even if they're going to drop one more, I'm not expecting them to break the low, because if they break that low, that pattern changes, right? That will be not the pattern we are expecting it to move. So what you're looking for, you're either in a buy already or you wait for a correction. You should not get into that buy. You don't want that pattern to go down on you. Right, so you should wait for this to prove it's going to go up, wait for this correction, and then take the trade. It will make a correction. It always does. It doesn't have to make a correction here. It could do this and then go here and then buy. No, you shouldn't be buying now. We're not talking about strategy, but you shouldn't be buying now. If you should have bought earlier if you saw it. There was a buy setup earlier if you saw that, but I guess you didn't see it, right? We saw that. We were expecting it to go up. I think I said last week, watch it to go down some more, and then the upside should start. It's going to be a big trade to the upside. Yen moved up, getting some corrections, and we anticipated some corrections after the yen moved up. It moved up from here last week all the way. I hope all of you bought the yen, because I was saying yen is going to turn. And let me just show you back again the structure. And this is why we know. And I'm saying a word there that most traders don't like to say. We know. We know these structures, and we know how they behave. And when this was going down, I think, I don't know if the troll is in here. I think he wouldn't be here. At this point, I was saying you got to start buying because we were breaking the low. And it went and it dropped lower. And I said, buy again. And it went and it dropped lower. The troll was having a holiday. He's like, oh, he's saying you should buy the yen, but the yen keep falling. Well, if you want to sell, this is where you were selling. When you want to buy, that's my trade. So do you want the trade in here that is going nowhere, or do you want that trade? That is the question. If you're a trader, you have to ask yourself, okay, what's my risk to reward? What am I trading for? To make money or just to jump and make a few pips? By the way, one trader sent me a question. He said, how much pips do you make? I said, I don't know. Because I don't count pips, I count percentage in my account. I'm seeing my account grows percentage-wise, and that's okay. I don't care how much pips I make in every trade. Oh, no. You have to know how much pips you're making. Pips is what makes the deal. I was like, yes, really? Really? You're teaching me what makes you know you're a successful trader? Pips? You want to count pips and tell me you know how much people make pips and they're losing their account? They split their trade, they put 10 different entries in, and then they take out piece, and they count, oh, I make 20 pips, and then I make 40, that's 60, and then I make another 20, that's 80, and then I make 120 pips on that one trade. And I'm like, that's just one trade. It only moves 20 pips or 40 pips. You just keep taking out piece, and adding the pips. It's useless. Take your pips and go buy something, because I'll be buying something with my money. So I want to see the percentage in my account grow. I don't want to see pips. I could make money in 10 pips than you can make in 2,000 pips. And that's the difference of understanding how to trade, right? So if you're counting pips, you're still in that stage where you're not ready for wave theory. You're probably not ready. I actually told him, I said, you're probably not ready for my course. You need to go and learn a lot more. You're still at that beginner stage where you think pips is what you need to look at, right? And you know who likes to tell people they should look at pips? You know where the people like to do that? People who sell signals. They have a way what they call we go in slowly and we come out slowly. So they tell you put 3 micro lots on, and then you take off 1 micro lots when you get pentapip, you take off the other one when you go 40, and you take off the other one when you go 60. You know why they tell you to do that? So that every single trade becomes a winning trade for them. Because if you click a trade now, the chances you can get 10 pips and you take it off immediately. Part of the trade, 10 pips immediately. So that trade becomes a winning trade. I don't take off any trade for 10 pips. That's not what I do. I don't even look at a trade at 10 pips. But if you're selling signals and you need to catch people to buy for $50 signals a month, right? You need to let them think they're winning. Give them the illusion that they're winning, right? Right. So when they get that illusion that they're winning, they want to pay for the signals. So at the end of the month, you put out all those, how much 10 pips you made. You say, watch, we made 200 pips or 5,000 pips this month. And everybody was like, that was great, but I followed you and I paid and my account is down. And when you start thinking when that happens, you think, man, something is wrong with me. Look at that signal company. They made so much. Yeah, I can see those trades, 10 pips. And my account is going down. What's wrong with me? No, nothing is not wrong with you. You're trying to trade live and they're trying to make pips. And that's the difference. They will continue to show you success. You know how much pips I could count from here to here? You want me to tell how much pips I can count? If I put I'm trading 20 standards lot at a time, but what if I was counting them as one mini lots at a time? I could count a couple thousand pips. And many of you did not even make a single cent there. So if I was running, there was a reason why I don't sell signals. And that's one of the reasons I don't sell signals, because I will make money, you wouldn't. If you're buying signals, one of the things you need to do is stop buying your signals right now. Go and unsubscribe from that right now. You will never become successful buying signals. That's a money-making scheme. It's literally robbing people of their money. Literally robbing you of your money. If you're buying signals, you have no idea, you will never be successful, right? Oh, a lot of them look at my videos, don't worry. And then they come in and troll me. A lot of them do that. So you will see a lot of trolling in this video, don't worry. There are going to be a lot of it. I don't care, but that's the truth of the business, right? They don't like when I say things like that. I'm like an outcast when you do that, right? Like, hey, why are you spoiling our business? No, but you're robbing people. That's your business. Innocent people who, and basically they like people who don't understand anything about trading. That's their best people. The 90% who have very little idea about trading, those are the best clients. Because the more ignorant they are about trading, the easier it is to fool them. And that's what most people like, right? If you're selling signals, you love those guys. You don't need to listen and learn anything. Just come and let me teach you. I'll give you signals. Don't worry, learn anything. I'll sell you signals. I don't sell signals for that specific purpose, because none of you will make money out of it. Not that I'm not good at trading or I wouldn't give you good trades. You know, I was posting a trading view. A lot of people made money out of that. But those were not signals. Those were setups. I showed you my setups, and if you know the trade, you make money. I'm not giving you a signal here. I'm showing you my sense of direction, where I think it's going to go based on the theory I'm using. If you understand it and you have some experience, you can make money out of this. That's the whole point, right? So we're correcting. We're making correction here. You're going to get a correction upside. This is going to continue to go. Even if it makes a deeper correction, it is going to continue to go. You have to wait for the correction to over now and then buy. There is no downside in this thing right now. Any downside that will come only when they are somewhere in this area here. That's when we might look at whether they're making a more complex pattern. So when it gets to that level, if I see in this structure a more complex pattern developing, then we might get one more downside, right? Not necessarily it will happen, but that's a possibility. And that's the thing about knowledge. Knowledge is not knowing exactly what something is going to do now, but knowing all the possibilities of how it can happen. I don't have a crystal ball. I have a brain. And my brain needs to function. It needs to tell me what are the possibilities of that could happen. You do the analysis and you look for all the possibilities. And then you said, okay, how do I behave in every one of those situations? That's what trading is. Anybody who tell you that, you can just watch for this pin bar and you're going to sell it, it's going to go, has no idea about what the charts are doing, how structure behaves, right? So you have to understand, once they get there, then I would say, okay, is that a possibility? Does that possibility exist? And then we will say, okay, maybe if we see all the necessary things we need to see that it's going to happen, then we said, great, we're going to go with that. If not, then it's going to continue to go up. What it did in Joseph and when? May, June? Oh, you're talking about this piece? Whether this piece could repeat itself here? Yep, that is a possibility. What it did here, we looked at this as 1, 2, 3. You can look at it at this area, right? You're in the group, right, Joseph? You know all the possibilities before I even say them here. right? So you don't have to ask me here. You know all the possibilities we live. We've done this chart so much time inside out daily in our room and all the possibilities. By the way, Joseph is in my group. He knows, right? So let's go. Swiss. Remember, this was going to come up from the bottom to the top. Well, it's here now. And this is what you need to look for. And this is where we might know whether yen is going to continue to go, because this one is leading the move. This one started first, then the yen follows. So if it continues to do that, it might give us a clue what the yen is going to do, which means if we see a reversal here for one more down, then we might make an assumption that yen could go and do that. If they consolidate here and start to go up to break the tops, yen is going to take off. That is just a clue. It's not that they're correlated. It's just a clue, because most of these moves are the dollar move. It's a strength or weakness of the dollar. It has nothing to do with these in particular. They're all moving because the dollar is moving, right? So what we start doing is we start looking for these clues and said, okay, is that a clue? They don't have to behave the same way. Remember, yen could fall and Swiss could go up, right? They're separate currencies. But their movement now is not the particular currencies themselves. It is the dollar movement. So all these up movement on the yen and this is because of dollar weakness. See? So when the dollar is moving and they're all moving, you can see what they're doing. And if one is behaving a little earlier than the other, one is making correction a little earlier, and it's dollar-based, then you can make the assumption that the next one will follow. Right? If it's dollar-based. If it's only yen-based, then you look at all the yen pairs for the same clue. Right? You look at the pound yen, euro yen, Aussie yen, and if it's a yen-based movement, then all the yen pairs will give you a clue, because one of them may take off earlier and one may go later. But those are just clues. They're not reasons to trade. They're not, they're not setups. They're just giving you clues of what it could do in the market. So we're looking at what this is doing. Now you shouldn't be trading this. If you followed me, you should be trading it to the top, and now you wait. You wait for either a deep correction or a reversal. So today, you don't have anything there. This week coming, you may not get anything. Wait until the next week, and then we'll come back to this chart. Because it either needs to consolidate or reverse, and that'll take about a week. So CAD actually moved up. We're looking for CAD to go down a lot, and CAD actually moved up pretty sharp, and everybody freaked out. Hey, what is CAD doing? Well, it was correcting. Remember when we started there, we said it's probably going to correct, and you would look for sell setups. Right? You were supposed to buy this short term, buy it short term. And if you bought it short term, you got lucky, right? If you took the short term trade, you really got lucky. And then they make another one. Now what we were expecting is a bigger correction here. I think this correction is going to be bigger before they fall. So if yen is going to go up, what we will find CAD doing is staying right in the same spot, correcting right here. I don't think we're going to see an upside on the CAD right now. We haven't broken that up, so we're probably going to see the CAD coming down here some more, maybe going back up, maybe making a bigger correction here, and then we will see a drop. Not until the CAD break this structure, not until they go out of this structure, that we will decide that now there is a structural change for upside, because there isn't a structural change. Only in the breakout of this. This pattern has not changed. It is still what we see, and that correction in there is normal. In an impulse going down a correction and then a very big drop, that is possible. If you look back at a CAD, you will see many of those. So it's bigger than I anticipated. I didn't think they were going to make such a big move. It's a bigger correction than I anticipated. So if there's a structural change by next week, we'll see it, right? But I still think they're going to consolidate in that zone, right? XAG, downside. XAG is now making a lot of sense to us. So we're going to look for some correction here, and then we're going to look for downside to break this low. Now, there are two options right now. One is going to break this low and go back up, and the second one is going to come straight down, right? Two options of how it could develop. Why those two options? Well, one is if you look at this as a contracting flat in there, like this one, then we're going down straight. The second one is if you don't look at that as a contracting flat, but you look at this as 1, 2, 3 here, then we're going to go back up there and then come down. You're going to have a flat like that in the middle. See? Pretty easy, right? Nothing difficult. The only way you can know those things is if you know all the possible patterns that exist and how they behave. So you don't just say it's going to go up or go down. People tend to think when I said, okay, it's probably going to go up and go down, and he's just saying, oh, it will go up or go down. No, we're looking at patterns as they develop. If they go here, break this low and turn, They're going to come break that up, create a pattern like that, and then come back down here before they go up. And I could show you a number of those charts we did that work, that they literally follow the arrows, right? Who's asking why I don't count on it? Well, I just told you, because we have a different counting system from Elliott Wave. And we're not giving you that for free. You have to buy the course to learn it. That's why I don't label it. Right? Did that answer your question? Whoever is asking the question, Isaac, I hope that answered the question. He's in YouTube. Well, I can't see your question there. Isaac just put your question. The reason I don't label him is that we, like I said, we are not doing Elliott Wave. Elliott Wave is just a part of what we do. It's called wave theory. If you came in late, go back and listen to what I start today's webinar with a comic who is saying, we'll get the details at the end of the course. At the end of this webinar, I'll give the details. Stick around. Let's go. Gold was down, and it's still going down, and I still think gold is going to go down. I don't see a structural change in gold. We're going to expect more downside, even if they consolidate here. I think this whole piece is making that when you've got to consolidate, probably going to make a three wave here. You could get a deeper pullback for a three wave structure down, but it's going to go down, right? So even if you get a deeper pullback here for a three wave, something like you had in this 1, 2, 3, we're going to make a 1, we're going to make a 2, we're going to make a 3. So you can look for more downside. I don't see a buy setup here as yet. Euro Oz drop. I think we're going to make a bigger correction before we go. Euro Oz is going to make a 1, 2, 3 probably, and then go back up. So you can look for sell setups here for next week. They make consolidation, look for sell setups, and then it's going up. It's in an uptrend. It's just making a bigger consolidation here. Kind of making a bigger consolidation here, and then you'll probably get one more up. So you can trade a little down and then start, as it breaks the low, you're going to start being careful, look for the upside, right? So some more sell setups here. Let me just put this. Actually, there are some nice sell setups in it. I think last week you got that, you got this, you got this. You're making another one here. Look for sell setups, right? Euro New Zealand. This one you have to be careful of. It broke the top as we expected. 1, 2, 3. When they started to go back up, well, they're breaking the top. It's still a big correction. Let me just show you so that you can see that. It's still a very big correction, right? You've got a move down, you've got a move up, you've got a 1, 2, 3 down here, you're making up, and they're breaking. So if they make some corrections in here, this would be good selling to come back to this low, right? Now, can this wave go up more from here? That means we'll be looking at a contracting flat, which I'm not looking at right now. We're not expecting that to be a contracting flat, right? If you sold this, well done. So here's where you have to look for it. It's not going very aggressive now, right? That was a sell. It didn't go very aggressive. Take that off. It might be a break-even trade. You have to watch it. But it looks like we'll consolidate here, right? Looks like they might consolidate here. And then you will get a good trade. So you may have to give it some time to consolidate and then look for the trade. When sometimes they take a long time to consolidate. Let me just show you previously, right? See that? If you're looking at this piece, you're somewhere in here. See that big consolidation before they drop? Right? So you're probably going to make a big one somewhere here and then drop. So wait for it. Patience. EuroCAD. Sell, sell, sell. I think there's more sell in it. They'll consolidate here. Look for more sell. There is more sell in this. Euro is going up, right? But CAD is coming down right now. So if Euro and CAD consolidate both, you're going to get a little more downside, right? There's still more to go. So I think breaking this low is possible. When they come close to the trend line, then we will see what happens. But before then, you're going to get some more downside here. Euro yen. This one you couldn't have taken the trade. We saw the possibility of a both, but we didn't take the trade to the downside until it breaks here. And this is not confirming downside as yet, right? Because this structure is going like that. There's a big consolidation happening in here, right? We consolidate, break out, come back. So they could be making a bigger consolidation before they go up. Or we could be reversing. How we're going to trade this, wait for this piece here to tell you, right? Wait for this to either make a consolidation. If they do one day, it looks like they'll probably do that. Take one trade down, take off the profit. Don't keep the trade, right? Take every trade down as one trade until you get back to the trend line, right? There's a big trend line there on the daily. I'll show you that one. So don't keep these trades for long term because we don't know how far they're going to go before they go back up. So if I show you the daily structure, and you remember we told you that is going to break to the downside, right? It did break. You were here when that broke. So there is a good chance this might be making that attempt down there. We can't confirm that as yet. There isn't enough here to tell us they're not turning the way they should turn, or the way that we think when that turns that way, it's turning for good, right? This is not turning as yet. They could still make upside, which means this could still be consolidation and then drop. We don't know if that up move is over, right? There isn't. So the up move could still be. So what you're going to do is you're going to start by taking one sell. You can either move your stop or take profit, then take another sell, then take another until you get to the low. So if they consolidate here, that would be it. If you're going to buy this, I want this to go up really sharp, pull back, and then give me a buy. Pull back, give me a buy. These buys are going to be very, very risky because at any one of them, they can turn back to the downside. So you have to be very, very good. Isaac, can you keep those questions to the end? Let the YouTube people stick around if they want, and at the end, I'll take questions. Otherwise, we'll have we'll be disturbing the webinar quite a lot. Euro Swiss. Looks like we're going to get some more up. They're still going, so you can look for a short-term buy there, take profit. It's something like this. See this one? It's more of this little piece here, not that piece. So you can take, it's a very short-term trade. They make a pullback, make this, make that, take the profit. You get another buy, take profit. It's just going up, and it's at a very, very high spot. So very soon you'll get a turn. So if you're buying that one, you have to be very careful. I mean, very careful because it's going up, but they can turn any point. You just take the trade and move your stops. Move your stops to break even and then wait, right? Euro pound came down, turned as we expected. We got this very nice to the upside. We got it from here. And then we saw this. This one we didn't buy because we sold all the pound. The reason we didn't buy this one here, it was at the bottom here, is because we sold all the other pounds, right? So we didn't decide to buy this. It's going up. Where is it going? I think you got to watch this area here. This is some kind of an extended corrective structure. They will probably pull back, go, pull back, go. We'll see how this goes. It could come back to the low and then go again because it's in one of the weirdest correction. We'll figure it out later when it's finished. And then we might still get one more down to finish this structure, right? So just if you're going to trade this up, wait for a correction, take the trade, take profit. Don't keep them. Trades when you're in a corrective structure trading, you're not keeping trades. If they're going to turn to make one more low and they can do that, they can turn. I don't think they're going to turn anymore because of this piece, right? If they might just continue to go wait for a correction, go wait for a correction, go, right? Pangos, look for the sells. You might get one more sells. One more sell in this. We'll have to be careful because this is becoming a big correction, right? So what you're going to do, we don't know if they're going to drop it. It's possible because this could be the correction. Or this whole thing is the correction and they go back up. Good. So breaking the low, this is not one of the cases where breaking the low is reversal, right? I think you got to be careful with that. Even my students sometimes get mixed up with that, right? When I said, okay, it will break the low and turn, this is not that case. This is a different structure, right? Some of my students say, oh, well, are we waiting? We said, no. What is the pattern you're looking at? Please tell me again. And then they go into that drilling. They get a good drilling for it before they figure out that, oh, I probably should have asked that question, right? So when they ask me that question in the group, immediately I give them, you know what I do? I give them the presentation. I said, okay, you are the presenter now. Show me what you're looking at and tell me why you think it has to turn when it breaks the low. That's what we do in our trading group. That's how we train. You come, you ask a question, and I make you the presenter. And I said, okay, you tell me you show me how you're looking at the charts, and I will tell you where you're going wrong. You don't get that training anywhere, right? And we do that on a daily basis. It's not like it's going to be random. Just like if you had asked me, if you were in my class now and you ask that, I'll make you the presenter immediately. Give you the presentation, and you show me how you're looking so I can see where you're going wrong. And when I see where you're going wrong, then I can correct you. I know what's your thought process. I know how to correct that. right? If I don't know how you're thinking, I don't know how to correct it. And that's what makes difference in our group. That's the whole difference. We train you. We don't just give you some videos. So 2 possibilities. This is the correction, we're gonna fall. This whole thing is the correction, we're going up. See, that's the simple part. I'm giving you the simplest way I can give you, right? So we are in this trade. I can tell some of my traders in that trade. I take off this. This is not correct. I'll take off this too. That one just moved. It should be like this. It just moved there. Right? This one was like that. The one that you saw was like that. It just moved. Take it off. Right? So what you're looking for now on a 1 hour is you want a correction. You can go in now. You can go in under correction. You can wait for this to correct and then you sell. If they reverse, wait for it to correct and then you buy. Right? So you don't have a trade in that. If you're already in the trade like this, you move your stops and you stay with it. Pound New Zealand, we are all in this one, and I hope all of you are in this one because I showed every single one of you this trade, and I told you, you should not miss this trade. How many of you in this trade? Give me a Y if you're in the trade. Come on. I think I showed this trade to all of you in the room, and I said, you guys don't miss this trade because there's a big move to the downside, and if you're lucky, they will break this structure here way down to the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of you took the trade. And on a regular basis, there is almost about 200 to 300 people who look at the webinar. I'm not talking about the 6,000 who look at it afterwards. I'm talking about the 200-300 who normally comes live, right? 3 trades. You're in my group. You don't. I'm not asking my students to post. I know you took 3 trades because you're in my group, not my students. You shouldn't be posting. I'm asking the other guys to post, right? Okay, good. So, Mohammed, I don't know. I have 2 Mohammed in my group. I'm not sure if you're one of them. Anthony is in my group too, right? I'm asking the other guys. You see, we looked at this so much, and I showed you guys what the pattern is going to do. Remember what I said last week? Watch this pattern here. This pattern is like a 99.9% guarantee that they're going to go to the top, and then they're going to break down. Because we can see everything in this is a perfect setup. You got an impulse, you got a correction, you're going to get another impulse. Remember what I showed you, the basics thing, an impulse, correction, impulse. It happens in all time frame. This is one of those classic cases. So you can see where we got in. I think all of you can see where we got in. I actually left the entry there. Some of my students got in a little higher. We're not going to go into details of their expertise. Some of them are really good. They got there. But if you were in my trading room, this is where you got in the trade, and you're still in that trade because you're not closing the trade. I think I told them not to close it. My students should not close this. We close some of the other pound trades they take, but this is one they should not close. And a lot of them in this room here know, so they can tell you, right? I'm not just saying it that, oh, maybe he said he did that. There, look, Anthony's in the group. A whole lot of them. I think there's a lot. I just saw Anthony name at the bottom. That's why, right? So they can tell you that's the trade call we made in the room and took it. Because this is the easiest trade you can find. You don't find them so perfect. In terms of wave pattern, they're not that simple. This is very simple. You remember I said watch this to go break the top last week and then watch that drop? You should be in that trade. If you're in my room, you're in the trade. And if you're trading a $10,000, I don't know, 20,000, that one trade would have paid for your course. That one single trade. If you have more than a $10,000 account, well, not $10,000, $20,000 account, that one trade would have paid for your course. Yes, when they behave like this, it's easy. You don't get them every time. There's a lot of them. But when you get these, you have to take them. You don't skip them, right? Yes, you paid for the course in the one trade, right? Yes, he's in my course. I told you, right? He made 3 trades and it 5,500. That's twice the cost of the course, actually, right? So you can see these are real, my students. They can tell you, right? Most of them, if you're trading a good size account, one trade and you paid for the course. So do you think it's expensive? I should raise the price, right? Let's go. Pound Chief. You see, I said Pound Chief, Pound Swiss. So watch this. This one was a difficult one, right? This one, we traded down. We knew it was going to go down. We got in a little late in it because we had to wait for confirmation. We got in, I think, somewhere about this level at the break of the trend line, somewhere there. That was the entry order. it goes and we took profit out of it because this one might start to correct here and you don't have enough profit to keep it. So you're going to look for sell still. It still looks like it's going to come down more. So wait for correction, sell it. CAD, really nice one. It's dropping. You need to watch the CAD to see if it's going to break this structure. You want them to break out, consolidate. I think CAD could go up one more. We're looking at that possibility. But as you see, both possibilities open. If they break out of here, if they can come out here and consolidate, you're taking this trade all the way to the bottom. That's your trade. If it consolidates here by next week, it should consolidate. This trade, all of you should take all the way to the bottom. It is going to go. Nothing will stop that from going. You just want that consolidation is going to go. There is a possibility. It will still go down. Structurally, it's still going to go down. But there's a possibility they could make one more of this up. See? One up, pull back, one up, pull back, one more up, and then down. So the only question is, are we going to get that one more up, or are we going to start the downside now? That's the only question in the whole structure, right? Let's go. Pang Yen. This one is a trouble. This one is a headache. Stay out of it. Don't trade it. Some of my traders took it, and we didn't trade it in the room. We didn't take it because with some traders, more experienced traders took it. I didn't take it because there's still that possibility of this thing going up. You notice all the yen pairs has to move like that. This one has a very small move because there's still potential of them breaking the top before they fall. Right? We're still expecting that to happen because we're looking at one particular structure that should complete itself. If they don't do that, then we're wrong about the structure we're looking for. Right? We are making anticipation that it is going to make this structure because we don't see right now the possibility of any other structure developing for what we have. If they break this structure and come down, if they follow all the yen pairs, right? If they follow all the pound pairs, if the yen is not weak enough to push it there, right? If the pound is weaker and they come here, right? If they come down because of a much weaker pound, then we will have to relook at what pattern is making. That means we'll have to wait for a lot of other movements and then put that together to see, okay, good. This is where we got it wrong, and this is the pattern that it's making. When you see situations like that, you simply don't trade it, right? Yes, the pound Swiss with the pound Oz, pound Swiss with. The only one I think I told them you can definitely keep was the pound New Zealand, yes. But I'm keeping my pound trades. You know that. I'm selling pound Swiss for a long time. I'm selling pound dollar for a long time. I'm keeping my pound trades because I still think there's a big move to the downside on them. Right? I have not changed I'm trading the weekly and the monthly and the daily charts. I have not changed the views on those charts as yet. Right? When the pound comes to the trend line, then I will make a change in the view if I see the upside. So I'll show you because it's important for all the pound trades. So I'll just show you at one glance very fast, and then we'll go back to starting Aussie CAD, right? One glance where I will change this is where I'm about to change my view on the upside. When this happens, if they stayed in consolidation in here, that will mean upside. I'll exit all my pound trades that I have. Some for profit, some for maybe very small loss, because all of them I'm selling right in this area here, right? I'm selling for a big move down there. So some might be profit, some might be small, depends on when I close them. I'm selling for this. I'm accumulating sales for that. But if they don't go, then I'll just close them and I'll start accumulating for that, which means I'll be buying at the bottom here. Once I see that change that confirms it. Right now, there isn't any change that confirms that. You're here every week with me, so you will see it too. Don't worry. I'll show you. Right? Let's go. Aussie CAD. I'm not in this trade, although we're looking to sell it. It's because I'm waiting. Remember, I told all of you, we will wait. Some of my traders took it earlier here and there. They came off with it. They came out of it because we thought this was going to make the deeper correction. It didn't. So somewhere here, we will get a deeper correction. Only then I will sell it. It's a long-term trade. Right? It's a very long-term trade if I sell it. I will not sell it for short-term because short-term is really miserable, I'll tell you. If you look at this whole thing, you try to share short-term, you can see what happens to you, right? You end up with break-even trades or you end up staying too long in the trade. So what I would like to see to get that trade, I would like to see it pull back like this. And then I want that single drop to this level. That is going to be a very sharp trade. That is this trade I'm looking for. See that piece there? That one, something like that, something like this, something like this. So I need the correction to happen first. Because if you get in, you have to live through that, and there's no reason to do that. You'll be taking small losses, and there's no reason. Let them make, if and when they make that, then I will go for this trade, right? Short-term trades at the bottom there now is a bad idea because now they're curving. They're actually showing us that they might start going up for that deeper one. See, I actually thought this one will go make that trade, but then they drop. So somewhere here, we might start to see that bigger up move here. If we get it, then it will be very good. It becomes an easy trade because your risk to reward gets better. You have already seen the correction over. So the next impulse is almost ready to go. So you don't have to be in the trade a long time. You just jump in and it goes. Right? It takes off with you. So stay out of this one. Aussie Swiss. This one is correcting. You can see that already. Take this off. We thought they're going to get if they drop from there, but they're going. This is nice. This is exactly what I want to see on the Aussie CAD. I want to see this sharp move. I want to see this correction here. And then I want to see that drop. That's where my trade comes in. Right? So when I see that drop, you don't try to do that if you have no idea of how wave theory works. You're going to take a drop here. You're going to take a drop here. You will take about 4 losses, and then you give up, and then you see this happen. Because you will have to be able to read that pattern correctly. And let me just show you why you should not do it, please. Because this thing could come like that. It could go back like that, take you out. Come back like this, go back like that, take you out. And then you say, what the hell is he talking about? And then it does this, and I get my trade right here. See? I get my trade, and you lost 3 trades. And then he said, hey, I don't know what this guy's talking about, this wave theory thing. It's not working good, right? I lost 3 trades in that thing. You don't understand the structure, how it could develop. So unless you have that knowledge and understanding of how structure develop, don't try to sell at the top here. The ones I tell you can sell, that was the pound New Zealand. You should have sold that one because that one was a complete structure, right? It was easy. I showed you the structure. It's perfect. It's completed, and it's time to go. And this one is not complete. That's an incomplete structure. So if you try to trade it, you may take losses. Aussie, New Zealand, like I said, you can buy this if you want. You have to have a lot of patience. Some of my traders are in it, but you have to have a lot of patience because it's going very slow. All these corrections you have to live through. So there's another correction. And if you want to trade it, you can try to trade it as well. You will have to live through that. It's not going to go very far, and it's going to be very corrective because we're making a B wave of a C wave, right? They're making a deeper correction to go down. They're going to make a very big correction. It could suddenly, if you're lucky, right, you might get a sudden sharp spike. You have 7 entries. I know Isaac is my trader too, right? So if you have patience like Isaac in my group, you can do that. If you have the patience, you can take it, right? But it goes very slow. I don't like those. I don't trade them. My patience run out. I like to stay long in trades, but I like them to go. I don't like them to be sticking at the same spot for a long time. New Zealand Swiss. This one, you probably stay out of it. We don't have a pattern that is giving us a clear sense of direction. This is not a pattern. As you see, those 2 lines are not showing you a pattern. Forget about them because this is doing something else, right? And we cannot put the pattern on it yet because they don't have enough parts to say, well, we're looking at this specific pattern, right? Those 2 lines are just giving us borders as to where it is. They mean absolutely nothing. Don't try to buy or sell within them. Aussie yen, I think you can look for a little more upside on this. Put it in the 4 hour, you'll see. So if they're making a turning point here, because we started going up here, I think we might get more. If they're making a turning point from this one, you'll have to be careful. I don't think it will be worth for you guys to take it because they might just come here and then turn down. Your sell will come here. Sell it back to the low if they do take the sell. But if they come up here, I will wait for them to come here and make a flag. Only in this level, if you get that flag, then you buy. But if you buy this here, you keep that trade because it might go very far. On the bigger structure, they could go back way to the top, right? On the bigger structure, this move could move back all the way to the top here. Why I told you to be careful here, we can get a sell. Remember this piece. We were trying to buy, we actually bought this breakout here. See that? We bought into that, and then we got taken out of most of the trades in there on the deep pullback. We only got in back the trade here and here. Right? You can only get back into those trades there. So the buy we had from here was gone. Same thing here, right? Some of us who took that, we just took profit out of it, but they can do that again and then go. So you have to wait for a confirmation at the top here before you get that trade. I know for some of you, if my traders are here and when I say that, they immediately understand the structures I'm looking for, right? They know what I'm saying. For some of you, this may sound a little weird because you don't know what structures I'm saying you need to wait for. And I just can't go into more elaboration here because it's like teaching all of you structures, and that's a whole long time to do, right? It's not like I can do it in one webinar, right? It's a whole long process. But as I'm showing you those, you should be able to follow that. What pattern he's probably looking for when he says down or up. In my group, I will even show the pattern, right? If this was my daily webinar, I'll show you the patterns themselves. Here, we don't have the time and you don't know the pattern, so there's no sense I show you them, right? So wait for this to happen. If you don't know it, just wait. New Zealand yen, upside. Look for upside. It's going to go up from now, and I think they're about to turn, right? So don't jump in right now because they might still continue. Remember the pound yen? It might still continue to go down, but look for that move. And this move is going to be very sharp. So what will be your trade if it happens this week? If this consolidates here, take the trade. Take that trade. Right? If that consolidates, take the trade. If they drop again, don't sell it. Wait for them to do this. Give you a sharp move, make a consolidation, take the trade. This could do this for a while, but it is going to go up. And it might go very, very violent, which means very, very fast. Right, it's going to go back up to at least this top and break out of the top most likely. We've seen, all of you have seen structures like that before. New Zealand CAD, you have a buy setup. This one is ready. And when they break this top, put that to break even. I don't think they're going to go back one more. I think we're actually going up deeper, but this thing has been doing that for a while. So hopefully this is the takeoff. The worst case is you'll try to get a break even out of it. Right. CAD yen. Okay, CAD yen broke, but don't sell this breakout as yet because that breakout just happens to be one of those complex patterns you're looking at, right? One of the complex corrective structure here. They can go down some more, but they're likely going to go back up. It's just making a big correction in there before the upside. I don't think you can buy it right now too because it's not confirming. This piece needs to consolidate and fall. This one is going to give you a trade down first, most likely. Drop here and then go. They don't have to go very far. If they do that, pull this line and then buy in the breakout. That's the easiest way. That's just the easy way. But this is a complex pattern. There are more parts to this pattern that needs to happen. I can tell you that from now because we know how these patterns will behave. Right? There are going to be more parts. It might be much more complicated. Just let it go first. Let it really take off and then make a flag and then you get in. Swiss yen. This one dropped again pretty much to the low. We broke the low. We took off. You got the trade. They pull back. They go. They pull back deep. That means we're going to get this and we're going to make one more low. Right? They're going to probably come back here and make one more low before they go. You're going to get a big, long, drawn out pattern here. Right? This is going to come back up here, but it's not going up now. Eventually, that thing goes up. Let me show you in a 4-hour. Eventually, this goes up, but it's probably going to get a little more low first. So you're getting one correction, you drop, you get another correction here, they will drop, probably make another correction, drop, made another correction, drop. You're going to get something like this, and then you're going to get a sudden takeoff. See? So don't try to trade it now. Wait for that because the downside is not going to go far. The upside is going to pull back deep. And they will do that a number of times before they actually fall. I think I can show you that on the chart here. There will be a page in the chart that I might find to show you one of those, how they do those patterns. These are sharp moves. Let's see if I can find any place where I have that. I have to find a bottom where they start doing that from the bottom. Or from a top. Okay. This one made a spike up before it goes, so I wasn't looking for that. See if I can find one. This might be an example, but that's not the perfect example I'm looking. I'm looking for one that is an impulse that drops, and then go. Let me see if I can find it. Maybe not in this chart. I'll find one in another chart and show you. We've seen those patterns. They do that drop, very deep corrections, and then they take off. Right? So it's probably going to give you one more up. That's for sure. Something that you're going to get a flat in the middle there. If you want to buy it, let's see if we have a buy setup on the 1 hour. No, you don't have a setup yet, but it's ready to take off, right? More like this, see? It's ready to take off, but there isn't the buy setup there as yet. CAD Swiss, instead of this, it's going to go up, right? The CAD Swiss is going up. You have, this is one, if you want to trade it, you have to have a lot of patience, right? We saw this down, we saw that up, but trading this itself calls for a lot of patience because here they look like they move fast. On the lower time frame, you see that was a buy, but they don't go, they make that and then they pull back. If you notice, they pull back way back there. Then they go, they pull back way back there. And this one is correcting. This one might go now, they'll pull back and then go again, right? So there will be a lot of pullbacks in it that makes it difficult to trade, but they will get to the top. It's not the best instrument to trade, put it that way. I know how it works, but I don't trade it. I personally don't trade this, although we know that was going to happen. It's a nice long-term trade. I don't trade this pair specifically. Because you need to have patience. Copper, don't sell copper as yet. It could still go up from here. If they come back, break this top here, make a flag, buy. If they go down, make a flag here, then you sell. Don't sell because they broke out. Right? That doesn't mean anything right now. Copper will still go up. Right? That piece will still go up. We showed you that pattern already. It's a copy of this one. Right? You got one, you have 1, 2, 3, down move up. You got one, you got 1, 2, 3, down move up. Elliott Wavers want to tell me what that patterns are, or what the pattern is? We don't have an Elliott Waver in here who knows what that is, right? US oil. They will give you a whole lot of things to except tell you what that is. So oil went up, broke the top. We have, it's consolidating now. The downside will still happen. This downside, this move will still go down. Let me just explain this to you guys. See that they're breaking up for one more, but this move down, this piece here, go like that. They will come back here and then go. So if you're buying these setups, if you bought that, you see what happened, you got to take profit. If you buy this, you have to take profit because they will do this, and then they will drop. They're going to drop, make that drop there, and then continue to go. Same question to Elliott Wavers. You know what that pattern is? They don't. They will have that labeled differently, right? But that's a corrective structure, right? Well, it's what we call running flat. They don't look at running flat like that. Their running flat looks different. Their running flat would look like a 1, right? Go back, break the top slightly, and then come back, and then go without breaking the low. Well, it shouldn't break the low, right? They don't have that long drawn out one that comes back here and then go. Most of them label this as some kind of an extension in an impulse, right? And that's incorrect. They get it wrong because when they label it as impulse, it's not correct. They will start to label 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's confusing. They label it and relabel it 100 times and they still don't get it right because it's a correction. Yes, it's a correction and extension. It's an extended correction of the B wave. It's rare. It's not that rare, by the way. I've shown you guys it about 6 times already in this room, right? We know it. We know exactly how they behave. So when we start to see it, we start trading the correction itself as if it's making an impulsive wave. But you have to take profit because they're very, very, strong pullbacks. They're not going like impulse goes. So you'll probably get a move here and then they'll start to pull back. They can pull back deep, go again, right? So we start taking every piece one at a time. We were selling here, got out of the trade. We look at this and we said, okay, it's not going now. So it's consolidating. Look for breakout. If they break out, take the trade, take a short trade, take profit. UK oil, very similar. This is what a typical running flat looks like for Elliott Wavers. See? That's what they will call a running flat, a typical one. So you can look for this and then you can look for upside. This is what they will look for, a typical one. The Elliott wave explanation of a typical flat would be like that. Not those long drawn out ones. They don't look at it that way. That's something we find in our trading. Natural gas. So natural gas broke out. It's coming back. Good. So watch this. If you get a sell setup, take it. If you get a sell set up in here, sell it. Wait for that consolidation and sell. Because we think they made a contracting flat there. You got 1, you got 2, you got 3. They're going to come back down. So if you get a sell set up there, take the sell. Wait for consolidation, then take the sell. S&P 500. See this one? You see this one? Remember we said this is going to go back up? Well, it dropped a little more. It dropped 1 more down before it goes, but it didn't change the pattern. We're still going up, right? This actually is a copy of this one, except this piece is shorter. This is the longer one, right? This one is the shorter one. This is the longer one. And then they make that. They make this. And then we're going to see more downside, right? After that, they come back. So this pattern is going to stay in this correction for a very long time. It's a big corrective structure. It's a huge corrective structure, which means they're making so many parts in it. They'll probably come here. They'll start to come back down, maybe make more up, make more down, make more up, and then you might get a drop and then up, right? So I don't know how long they're going to stay there, depending on how each piece develops. We look at them. We look at each piece, but I know for sure that this is a correction of the correction. So I expect this to come here, make 1 more down. This one down should be sharp, giving me that flat, and then we'll see what happens after that, right? So it's going to develop, and then we will see what structure they're building. It will build a structure that we know, a specific structure that we know. We don't care which one of the numbers that it built, but whichever one we see, when we see that done in a bigger structure, we'll be ready for the upside. Right now, we're still trading it, but we're trading it within a corrective structure, right? We're trading it within a bigger corrective structure. So I think you have a buy setup. You can expect more upside here. This could probably go up somewhere there. So look for that trade. DAX. DAX is a weird one, right? It's going to make a correction, we know, but it's a little weird. It's making some very sharp pullback. And so if I think you stay out of it until this correction is finished, right? Let them finish the correction, or let them make the correction more. Give us more parts so we can tell what they're doing. Right now, it's not clear. I think this line now is not giving us any clue either, because this piece is not all the correction, that's for sure. And if that was all the correction, they'll be falling out, going up, right? And this is actually going up somewhere, so we have to wait. There's the buy setup. Don't try to buy this in the break of that, because you will take a loss. They can reverse on the break of that, right? This one is easy. You're looking for upside and it's going up. You actually have a trade setup building up right now. You can see that consolidation building. Then consolidate, you can take this trade up. 1 more, right? Nifty. Nifty is going up. Now you got to be careful, because I don't think Nifty is going to break that top. They could go some more like this, but I don't think they're going to break the top. Just being careful by moving your stops if you're in the buy. If they consolidate and you buy, it's kind of, if you trade Nifty long term, you don't want to buy it now. Wait for it to come back and then buy. You can even sell it if you want, right? We'll be running out of time. We're already above time, and then I still have some questions to take from you guys. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the Bitcoin very fast. Bitcoin is consolidating. This one is in a consolidation, which means this here is going to come back a little like this before they go, right? This is like 1, you're making 2, you're going to make 3, and then upside. So they're in a big consolidation. This one also, same consolidation. You're getting like a P part of it. They're going to come back here and then go. And XRP, pretty much the same thing. They're all doing the same thing, right? This one already made a big consolidation. You can see that. So this one might just make a small consolidation here and then go back up. I don't think we're expecting them to break this low. More of a small consolidation here and then go. I don't think they're changing this into a very big consolidation, right? I don't think that is what is happening. So just watch it. This made a big expanding flat there, so they'll probably go. Let me see if any trades that. Okay, that's it. So let me take the questions now. Go ahead. There was one question, at least that one question I'll answer. Which pattern will you, based on your experience, which pattern will you most likely wait to occur and have better chance of confirming? Is that regular, contracting, or running flats? Regular flats, they're the easiest one to trade. Running flats and contracting flats and expanding flats are very difficult to trade, especially for new traders. because you have to confirm that you're in one of those flats, and that's very hard to do if you're new. If if you're more of an experienced trader, then probably it will be easy for you. Regular flats are pretty simple; they're easy. You can tell them easily, then you can trade them, right? The Hong Kong Charter Tree. Well, I think I showed you guys that as a gift from one of our traders, working really good, right? You guys should be happy about it. It's going exactly as we expect. It's going to go up some more and then turn, right? Gold we did already. Somebody asked a question at the very start. Can you bring back that question? Can the person please repose the question? There was a question from the very start. Technical and wave trader, the difference between them. Yes, somebody asked me if I'm more of a technical trader or if I'm more of a fundamental trader. I said, no, I'm a wave trader. So what's the difference between those, right? Let me give you the very fast. Fundamental traders trade based on fundamental analysis, fundamental news. They think that, okay, this economy is weak, it's going to go there. Normally, fundamental traders should trade long-term. If you are a fundamental trader, you have to be a big bank or a big hedge fund, really big. So you have a fundamental analysis that says, you know what, the economy in this country is going to be weaker because of this fundamental reasons, economical reasons, whatever reasons. The market is going to do something in this. So I want to be a long-term 4 or 5 years trader. And you will probably get it right, right? You'll probably be right about it. And even if you're a fundamental trader and you're wrong about it, after 4 years, because of the 4 or 5 year cycles, you can get out of that trade for break even, right? That's one. What's the difference between technical trader now, which is short-term traders? That is us, people who look for things, technical things in the chart to trade. So what are technical traders? Technical traders are saying, okay, I see a technical setup. I see something that repeats itself in the chart. And every time I see it, I trade it. Like every time I see a doji, I know this thing will go down 50 pips. So every time he sees a doji that he thinks is a top, he will sell it because it goes 50 pips. Right? Every time he sees a doji at the bottom, he will buy it because he thinks it goes 50 pips. He has done some studies or whatever, and he thinks that works. Well, the problem is you're looking at the dojis that are the tops or the bottoms. And what that trader missed when he was actually doing his technical analysis was the dojis that are in the middle of the move. Because if you're looking at a move and you see a doji at the bottom and then the move goes, and you see a doji at the top, what you're missing is how much more dojis did you miss in there that you didn't count. And that's the problem. There are about 500 more dojis in that move that you missed. And the reason you missed them is because you don't see them in the movement itself. But think of this. While that movement is happening to the upside, I'll use a different color. While that movement is happening to the upside, right? You had a doji here and it goes more than 50, it goes about 100 pips, and it makes another doji. Do you think you have the top? No, it makes another doji and then it comes 10 pips and it goes back like that. But you don't see that doji after. Then it makes another one, make 10 pips, go back again. Those will be losing trades. But you look at the very last one and you say, hey, that thing worked. No. What about all the ones in here that didn't work? See, you understand what the technical thing is. They look for things that they think technically works and it doesn't. Same thing with trend lines. You pull a single trend line or you pull a double trend line and you think, okay, once they hit the trend line, they're going to bounce off of it. No, they don't do that. Especially if you're looking at expanding flats, running flats, all those crazy patterns. It's not going to work. It doesn't work. The chart does not move up on a single straight line. That's not how the market works. It's the same thing with support and resistance. You put the horizontal line and you said, okay, technically this is the support, right? Or where every time that it breaks the support, it comes back to the support, it's going to go up. No, it doesn't do that. There is no support there. Nobody knows that there's support there. The market does not know there's a support there. The market is behaving a certain way, and the market will do what it's doing. But when it's doing what it's doing, it will create a specific pattern. Regardless of whether you have a doji there, you have a trend line there, you have a support and resistance there, you have Ichimoku cloud there, you have whatever else you want to put, whatever your fantasy is. You have two bat rabbits and cat there or whatever. Whatever you can fantasize, whatever you think you see in the charts is there. It's not there. The market will continue to do what it's doing. What we do as wave analysis is we allow the market to do what it's doing. And when it did, the behavior of the market happens. That behavior takes a specific pattern. One of the numbers of patterns that we know. And when we see a specific pattern, which means if we see the behavior of the market is this, regardless of whether it's like this, and we know that pattern, we're telling you this pattern has a 90% chance of going up. It has nothing to do with how much support and resistance in there, how much dogs or cats you see in there, how much whatever you see in there, how much Doge is in there, how much, it has nothing to do with all of that. It has to do with the market did what it's doing. The market was trading, and as the market is trading, it makes a certain pattern. The buyers and sellers, as they're buying and selling for a specific reason. They want it to go up or they want it to go down. If you want to sell something, you're behaving a certain way. If you want to buy something, you're behaving a certain way. You're accumulating it. If you want to sell it, you're throwing out in the market. And that method of what you are planning to do as the big traders, whether you're accumulating or whether you're trying to get rid of it, creates a specific pattern. Those are the patterns we learn. We understand that in all time frames and all the structure. And when you see that happen, you're like, okay, bingo, I got you. I know what you're doing. I know where you're planning to go. And you have a 90% chance they're going to do exactly that. Once in a while, it changes. They spike it somewhere else, change that pattern. You're like, okay, that's not what they were planning to do. But that's rare. Most of the time, what they plan to do is what they do because they're not doing it now. They planned to do that a long time ago. Somebody said, hey, the pound is falling because of this news. I'm like, you're crazy. Look at all the pound pairs. Since when they were planning to drop the pound, let me show you. Look at the pound New Zealand. And I will tell you since when they were planning to drop the pound that I know. I literally know they were planning to do that. Once I see this pattern here, they're going up nicely, right? They're pushing it up nicely. They're going. I have no idea what they're going to do. Forget about it. They're just going, well, they're probably buying. And then they stop and they make a sharp move down. At that point, I still don't have a very clear vision what they're going to do, right? Because that is not enough information to make a decision as to what the market is going to do. But now they started to do this. And I'm like, okay, I got you. I see what you're doing because you've done that before. You've done that here. You've done it there. You've done it here. You've done it in this piece, in the whole big piece here. See, they've done that before. I've seen it before. I know what you're planning to do. And because I know what you're planning to do, I'm going to join you on the downside. I don't care how many dojis is there, how many support and resistance is there, how many animals you saw in that. That's your imagination. Great that you have a nice imagination. You should be a writer, not a trader. It's good to have imagination, right? It makes you good, but that's not what the market is doing. The market is not following any doji or any support. The market is behaving a certain way, and then you watch the behavior pattern. And then you said, bingo, I got you. Right? That's what you have to learn. That's what we teach you to do. And that's the difference between wave traders, technical traders, even Elliott wave traders. That's the difference of what we teach you to do. It's not making an ABC. It's not making a WXYZ. It's making a specific pattern. You have to learn these patterns. We know them. You have to know how to identify them correctly. That's what we teach you to do, how to identify them correctly, how to not mistake those patterns because they're close looking. You might mistake a flat for something else. You may think that that's a flat and it's not a flat. And that's true. We start looking at them. And then we go inside of it and we said, okay, where are the turning points? Where will they literally turn for you? If you were with me last week, and you can go back and look at the webinar if you want, I said, let them break that top. They're going up and they will make one more to the top. When they break that top, if we see something in there that we think is a turning point, that's our trade. And that exactly was our trade. Now, can they stop here and go back? It will not change that down move, even if they stop there and go back. What it's going to tell me if they stop there and go back is that they're not ready to go now for whatever reasons they have. They may have reasons not to go now, but that doesn't mean they're not going to go down. This is already preparation to go down. This is already preparation. They're just not ready to go now. But we have got enough pips in there. We have got enough movement, enough dollars in there to move that stop and said, okay, well, if you're not going right now, I'll come out of the trade and I'll wait for you to go again. I may even buy it to the upside, like we bought this to the upside once we saw that this was not ready to go down. You see? It's not difficult. It's pretty easy, right? You're looking and said, wow, that's easy, right? Well, try doing it on your own. Try doing it without the guidance. Like playing football. Is playing football easy? Can any one of you don't kick a ball here? Why aren't all of you in the World League? Right? You may ask, why do I need somebody to train me? I can see those patterns. Well, you might see them, you might not see them, you might get a lot of them wrong. And that's why we teach you to do them. That's why my traders are making some success, because I teach them how to do it correctly. And when we don't get it correctly, we just don't kick the ball. We just don't take the trade. It's the same thing like anything, right? If you want to be good at it, you want somebody who knows it well, who understands, and especially the guy who actually has created it, which means that identifying a single wave within a pattern. That's what gives us these difference between Elliott wave, is that we identify each single wave within that pattern. And we tell you, so much waves is in this pattern. This is how we look at it. So much subwave in it. Look for this, and then go. This pattern is different from the one Elliott wavers are looking at. That's how we look at it. We said, okay, this is what this pattern is doing. It's not doing what you think it's doing this, right? Have you come across it of sell or buy bias? Everybody has to have sell and buy bias. That's the whole thing about trading. You trade your bias. Every single trader will trade his bias. The question you want to ask me is what creates your bias, right? If you say I'm selling Pong, is because my bias is Pong is going to get weak. That's the reason you trade it, because you have a bias that is going to get weak. That's what you're trading. Now, what creates your bias is the problem. You may say, hey, I heard this news that Pong is going to fall, and that's your bias. Great. It might or might not work. Basically, it doesn't work because the news never gives you the real thing, right? Now, you may say, hey, I saw Doji, so I'm going to sell. It might or might not work because that's not the real thing, right? You may say, hey, you know what? It hits a resistance point, so it's going to fall. I'm selling here. I'm telling you, it's a trading strategy. That's catastrophic. That's catastrophe for you because you're going to lose your account, right? So what creates your bias? That's the whole point. My bias is created by patterns in the chart. Like I just explained to you why I think this is the best thing I've learned. Because I've learned support and resistance. I've learned the animals and all the patterns you can find. I've learned all those stuff. I used to use them in my early days of trading, and I figured out they weren't working. Right? One guy even found a webinar I did 6 years ago, and he was like, you had support and resistance. I said, yes, I had them because I thought they were working. The guy who taught me to trade taught me support and resistance. And then I had to throw all of that in the garbage bin and start again. Right? When I learned Elliott wave, it wasn't working well for me until I found the missing part in Elliott wave, which is how do you identify what the hell is a wave? Ask any Elliott waver. Unless he bought my course, he cannot tell you how to identify what is a wave because he doesn't have a specific definition. He doesn't have a full set of rules to do that. That's the missing part in Elliott wave, right? And I said, oh, how? Yeah, I can teach you. It's just 5 weeks and a very small sum. Like you can make it, you can make by that money in one trade. You see, my trader made it in one trade. He made double in one single trade. So I can teach you to do that for that. The money is not the main thing, by the way. The money is to filter people who does not have an account. People write me, I have money to pay for your course, but I have only $1,000 left to trade with. And I was like, no, don't take my course. Because it's not only for you to pay me money. And some of you in here may know that. You might have written me and I told you, no, don't take the course because you don't have the capital to trade. I'm investing time in training you to do this well. I invest over a year sometime in you before you become that successful, right? Oh, exactly, yes. You know for sure. I was actually arguing with this guy not to take my course. Literally, you can tell him that you don't need to take my course. He's in here. So thank you for saying that because people sometimes think I'm just saying these things, right? He was like, I have enough money to take a course. I have enough money. I'm like, no, don't take the course. You don't need to do it. You don't have money to trade with. I do that. People want to take my course and I tell them no. I don't just do this so that you can pay me to do that. I'm investing my time in you, but it's worth enough money you cannot pay me back. I would like to see you successful traders, but you still have to have capital to trade with. Because I remember you said you will be left with $500. I'm like, how long will it take you to make back the money you're paying me? It's not worth the deal. Right? It's not worth the deal. But there was one guy who called me and he was very specific. He just finished university and he says, I'm going to be trading for a prop firm. I already applied. And I need to take your course just as educational part. I was like, okay, that's great. He took the course and he got into the prop firm. He even told them he took my course. That's a whole different situation because he knows he doesn't have capital. He's just paying for education because he's going to trade for a big company. They didn't take him only because of my course. He already had graduated from university with enough qualifications for them to take him. He just wanted to learn this theory and move on. Right? So this was just like a backup to what he was already doing. And they actually took him. They might have took him even without my course, but with that, they actually looked at my webinars, he said, and they were like, okay, let's see what you can do with what this guy taught you. Right? I'm not sure. I didn't see the sell clearly till I inverse the charts and what I mean. Oh, you see buy clear, but that's not a bias. That's something else. If you're saying you see the buy setups better than the sell setup, it's just a thing you have of seeing something, right? And that's not so much of your bias, because it's still you're looking for. You still have a bias of buying. That's probably what, and there is something that's creating that bias in you. That's why you see buy better. Maybe fear is why you don't see sell so well. I mean, you've lost in a lot of trades that you sold when, reverse it. But whenever we click a trade, it's because we have a bias. It's very simple. If you don't have a bias, you'll not click a trade. Another thing some traders like to say is that, hey, I'm a trader, I'm not the forecaster. I'm like, yes. Can you go back again? If somebody tell me that, I run the opposite direction from them. Do you know what you're doing when you click a trade? Anything. You're buying apples. Do you know what you just did? You just forecast that it's going to go up. If you're selling the euro, you've just made a forecast that the euro is going to go down. And that's why you're selling it. If you made a forecast euro is going to go up, I doubt you're going to go click sell. Unless you're really, really crazy. Right? So you are making forecasts, whether you know it or not. And that's what creates your bias. So when they're saying that, the traders who said, hey, I don't do forecasts, I'm a trader. He is saying literally, I'm dumb. I trade out of my ignorance. Right? Because that is nonsense. If you click a trade, you have a bias and you're making a forecast. Now, you may not have a very good method to make the forecast. And that is why you're saying, I don't make forecasts. Because if doji is why you make those forecasts, you don't have a method for making forecasts, right? Right? You're not a trader in the first case. If you're a gambler, that's something else. I'm talking about traders. You're not a trader if you're not making a forecast. The whole purpose of trading is you're forecasting where it's going to go, and then you click that trade. That's the whole purpose. So I hope all of you learned something today. Thank you for coming. Please help share the video, because there are thousands and thousands of traders out there still who don't know we exist, still don't know about this methodology, and they're still suffering. I'm pretty sure you're here because you find it interesting. So please go share the video immediately now. You can share it on all the social sites. Tell your friend about it. I'm pretty sure you have a trading friend who haven't heard of us. Thank you very much for being here. And I will see all of you next week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. I'll see my traders on Monday. Thank you, guys. Let me close the YouTube.